And when they finally looked back at the entire journey, what they saw stopped them cold. It was not the strong, independent person they had told themselves they were. It was something else entirely, a frightened soul who had thrown away something irreplaceable just to protect their ego. The mirror of their own absence showed them exactly what they gave up when they let you go, and that reflection became so painful that staying away felt worse than the risk of reaching out, more devastating than any rejection that might come if they dared to speak the truth. They had been suffocating under layers of fake calm, pretending everything was fine when nothing was. This breaking point is not weakness. It is actually the first real sign of strength they have shown in this whole situation. Because it takes far more courage to tear down your own walls than it does to keep hiding behind them. They are getting ready to do something that frightens them more than silence ever did. And the change happening inside them right now is the kind of necessary collapse that always comes before something real can be built. They are not preparing to send a casual text, not planning some vague move designed to test your reaction without putting themselves at risk. What they are gathering the nerve to do goes far beyond that. This is not a breadcrumb. This is a full offering. Something so different from how they have always operated, so far outside the self-protective patterns you have seen from them until now, that when it finally reaches you, it will be impossible to mistake it for anything other than proof that something deep inside them has genuinely changed. This is not them slipping back into your life with calculated distance, keeping one foot near the exit just in case. This is them burning that exit down completely, showing up in a way that strips away every layer of pretense, committing fully to being seen in their need, their regret, their longing, admitting with everything they have that walking away from you was the single greatest mistake of their life. They are rehearsing words in their mind that have never left their mouth, words that terrify them because once spoken, they cannot be taken back. A complete surrender of the lie that they were ever fine without you. Stay with this, because what happens next is something most people never see coming. When two people genuinely connect, something in both of them is permanently changed. There is a chemical reaction between souls that cannot be undone, cannot be replicated with someone else, cannot be explained away no matter how hard you try. This person is finally allowing themselves to accept that truth. They were transformed by what the two of you shared, and that knowing is what is pushing them toward action that will make no sense to anyone watching from the outside, but will make complete sense to you the moment you feel it. It will arrive with an energy underneath it that you will recognize immediately. Not strategic, not rehearsed to impress you, just raw and real and completely exposed. An apology with no deflection, a confession with no hidden agenda, a plea that does not pressure or demand, but simply lays everything bare and leaves the power entirely in your hands. And that is exactly how you will know it is different this time. There is always a moment when everything changes, always a specific point where denial cracks wide open and the truth floods in so fast that no defense can hold it back. For this person, that moment arrived recently, and it shattered every story they had been telling themselves about being over it. Maybe they saw you moving forward, maybe it was just the appearance of it, but the fear that gripped them in that moment was not intellectual. It was visceral, primal, the kind of terror that bypasses every thought and lands directly in the part of you that knows the truth without needing to explain it. Or maybe it was not about you moving on at all. Maybe it was their own collapse, their own descent into a darkness they were not prepared for, where they finally had to face the emptiness they had created by choosing safety over something sacred. They hit the lowest point and found no relief there, only silence, only the hollow echo of a life built around avoiding the one thing that makes life worth living. real vulnerability, real love, real connection. And in that darkness, they stopped fighting the truth. They finally accepted that you are not replaceable. Not something they could close like a chapter and move past. Not ordinary, not small, something real, something their soul recognized long before their mind was ready to admit it. That catalyst cracked something in them that cannot be sealed shut again. And the timing of it is not random, it is precise. Because breakthroughs only happen when the conditions are exactly right, and those conditions have finally come together. They had to face the parts of themselves they had been running from, the rejected pieces, the buried shame, the patterns that drove them away from love every time love came close enough to actually reach them, the parts of themselves they could not look at directly, the fear of being truly seen, the addiction to control, the way they kept one wall up even when everything else was open. These are the things they have been wrestling with in the dark, alone, without you watching. And wrestling with those things is not clean or comfortable or quick. It is brutal. It strips away every comfortable version of yourself until only the raw truth is left. They had to sit with their patterns of pulling away, their habit of emotional distance, their tendency to sabotage closeness right when it was becoming real. And in sitting with all of that, something began to shift. Something started to transform. The person who is now preparing to reach out to you is not the same person who walked away. That version of them had to fall apart before this version could emerge. What you are about to witness is not just someone coming back. It is someone being reborn. Keep watching. Because this next part is where everything shifts. It might come as a handwritten letter, words chosen carefully, rewritten a dozen times because they know there will likely be only one real chance to say what they have been holding inside for far too long. It might come as a phone call at an unexpected hour, their voice carrying the unmistakable tremor of someone standing at the edge of everything they are afraid of and choosing to jump anyway. It might come as them simply showing up, in person, at a place where they know you will be. Their physical presence saying everything words cannot, making it clear that they are willing to be uncomfortable, willing to be vulnerable, willing to face whatever comes because the alternative, staying silent, has become more unbearable than any outcome they might face. Whatever form it takes, you will know it immediately. Not because they say the perfect words, but because the energy beneath those words will feel completely different from anything you have felt from them before. There will be no testing the waters, no calculated ambiguity, no careful wording designed to protect their ego while still getting a response from you. This will be total immersion, complete exposure. And the difference between that and everything they have ever sent before will be so obvious it will leave no room for confusion. Real change is not just words. Anyone can find the right words when they are motivated enough. What you are watching for goes deeper than that. You are watching for what comes after the initial outreach. Whether their actions over time match the weight of what they claim to have realized. Whether they show up consistently, not just in the first rush of emotion, but in the ordinary moments that come after. Real transformation reveals itself through patience, through humility, through the willingness to sit with your uncertainty without pressuring you to move faster than feels right for you, through respecting your need for time and space without treating that need as a threat to their comfort. They no longer need you to manage how they feel. No longer need you to soften your response to protect their ego. No longer expect you to greet them with open arms just because they have finally arrived at a truth you already knew. If this is real, they will prove it not in a single grand gesture, but in the steady, quiet, consistent pattern of someone who has actually changed. Share this if you are done settling for people who only show up halfway. You are not obligated to receive what they bring, not required to forgive simply because they are finally ready. not responsible for making their return easier than your time apart was for you. You are allowed to say, "Not yet." Allowed to say, "I need to see your actions before I trust your words." Allowed to say, "I am not sure my soul actually wants this," or if my mind is just romanticizing something that was never as good for me as I wanted it to be. And you are absolutely allowed to say, "Never." To recognize that love alone is not always enough when certain patterns have caused damage that genuine apologies, no matter how sincere, cannot fully undo. Your peace matters more than their redemption story. Your well-being comes before their growth arc. But you are also allowed to forgive if forgiveness feels true to you, not forced. Allowed to try again if the desire comes from something real inside you, not from loneliness or fear of regret. Allowed to believe in what you see if the evidence actually supports it. Both paths are valid. Only you can know which one is right. No one outside your own inner knowing gets to decide that for you. This moment is about your power, your clarity, your right to choose what enters your life and what does not. This is not a distant possibility. This is close. So close that if you slow down and pay attention, you can already feel the energy shifting around you. The thoughts of them that keep surfacing even when you try to redirect. The quiet sense that something is on the way. The synchronicities that keep appearing with increasing frequency, little signals that feel too specific to be random, repeated numbers at moments when they cross your mind, references to things that carry meaning only within your specific connection, dreams that feel less like dreams and more like something real passing through the space between you, a sudden pull toward a certain place at a certain time with no logical reason you can name. When you start noticing those signals, when the energetic momentum becomes undeniable, prepare yourself, not by rehearsing what you will say, but by getting grounded in who you are, what you deserve, and what you will not compromise on no matter how much you have wanted this moment. The old template of the lover's return, the soul that had to leave in order to truly understand what it lost, is activating right now. The necessary time apart is completing, and what comes next will arrive not on your schedule or theirs, but in the exact moment when everything that needed to align finally does. Are you ready to meet it with your full power, with your healed, clear, sovereign self? Because that version of you is exactly who this moment was designed for.